In previous videos, I've explained to you how the survey works and how you need to proceed when you get to a survey location. But today what I want to do is go over an actual example so you know exactly what to do when you go out there. So this is the example that I'm doing. This is 1216 College Avenue, right across from Combs Hall. And on the left side of the screen is the survey site, which is, again, survey2020.andrealevysmith.com. That link is also on Canvas. So when you do this, you will likely be on your phone, not on an iPad. But for this demo, I want to make sure that you can see the house as well. So it's easier for me to do this on my iPad. So the form factor of the screen will be slightly different. Actually, it'll be more like, let's see if I can narrow it. Yeah, it'll be more like that, basically, on your phone. So yeah. So the first thing you'll need to do is put in the password. The password, just like it always is preservation, no caps. Once you open up the survey, which will take a second to load, it's going to open up this form for you, and you'll see that there's a lot of stuff here, but you can take your time to enter the information. The first thing is the site number, which will be your personal number followed by another number. So let's say your user number 01, then the site number would be 011. And then the next one would be 012, and then the next one would be 013. So the number of the surveyor is 01. I want to remind you, use exactly the number I gave you in exactly that layout. So if you're between 01 and 10, your number will be 01 or 02 or 03, etc. And make sure you write that out correctly, otherwise you're not going to find your information afterwards. Then you're going to enter the survey date, which in this case is just today, and then the street name. Now, you'll notice the street name, College Avenue, is not actually on this because it's set up already for Normandy Village, but let's assume that instead of College Avenue, it's Charles Street. It doesn't matter, but the street number is 1216. Then the next question is the number of structures on the site. By number of structures on the site, I mean number of permanent items on the site. So if it's, let's say, a toy house that you can pick up and move with your own two hands, that doesn't count. But a shed or a garage, something like that would count. And this house happens to have in the background a shed. Notice it looks almost big enough to be a garage, but if you look at the car next to it, it is not actually big enough. So the current use of the primary building is the next question. And I really like this example of house because if you look at it from the front and don't walk around it before you fill it in, you're going to mistakenly say that it's a single family house. But it's no longer a single family house. It is now a two family house, right? So there's an entrance on the front, and then there's a separate entrance and mailbox on the side. And if you look at the back of the house, you can also see how there's a fence separating both sides of the house. So the current use of the building is multifamily, but the historic use is single family. The use of the secondary structure is a shed. By the way, if there's more than one building in the back, theoretically, that does happen. You would put in the building that is the biggest. So if there's a garage and a shed, then you'd put in garage. But once in a while, there's a secondary building that's an industrial building or even a second house. So if that's the case, that option is there too. You will also notice that the no secondary structure is also an option. In fact, you should never leave a blank on any of these entries. So if there's nothing there, you still need to choose something, okay? So next is the style of the primary building. And if you look at this house, notice its roof line. You will find that this house is a Dutch colonial revival house. So in this particular definition, it would come up as neo-colonial. Number of stories. This is a 2-story house. Number of bays. Why don't we look at it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 openings. And the depth of rooms. When you try to figure out the depth of rooms, you're going to have to kind of eyeball it and hope for the best. I would say this house is about 2 rooms deep. Foundation material. Well, it's hard to say. However, this house is clearly structural brick. So I'm going to say that the foundation material is probably brick, and the structural system is also masonry. You might wonder, how do I know that? Well, I know that because this house is Flemish bond. And if it's Flemish bond, that is telling you that it's definitely structural brick. Wall cladding materials. Well, there's definitely brick, but if you'll notice over here, there's also some clapboards. Where's clapboards? Wood clapboards. And the roof shape is a gambrel. Notice. It's got huge dormers, but where is it? There we go. You can really see the gambrel there. The roof material. Let's zoom in a little bit. And yep, it's slate. Slate roof. I think I've got close-ups again in the front here. So yeah, definitely slate. Good. All right. So next is 3 entries where you're going to enter a bunch of text. I want to remind you that your phone has a dictation option. So if you're not great at typing, then go ahead and use the dictation option. And these 3 boxes are, it doesn't matter what box you put stuff in. The point is that you don't want to forget any details. Okay, so what kind of decorative details are there on this house? Well, it's Dutch colonial with big dormers. House is Flemish bond, brick with clapboards in the dormers. There's a front entry door surround with pediment and square posts. Let's see. There's a side porch, right? Side porch with board and batten. Now, if you are new to Fredericksburg, you would know this, but I know this because I saw it happen. The modillions on the front facade were added recently, so it's got big modillions on front facade added recently. Okay, evidence of integrity. Well, the brick has been painted, so brick has been painted, but the roof is original. However, if you look closely, you will notice that all of the windows are replacement windows with fake muntins. No, not munitions. Muntins. There we go. Also, the shutters are fixed vinyl shutters. All right. So, also in the alterations, you would want to note that so the windows are replacements, shutters are replacements, new paint, new modillions, although again, you would probably not know this. I know this because I've seen it recently. And also, if you look at the back of the building, the enclosed porch is also an addition. Back enclosed porch is an addition. All right, I think that's just about it. Oh, but the roof is original. Good, so then you would figure out the condition of the primary building. because it's had quite a few alterations, in particular the windows, I would say that it's in good condition, but by definition not in excellent condition. Then any threats. For your own survey, threats might be Route 1 development or large trees or neglect. It certainly won't be university encroachment, but on College Avenue, university encroachment is definitely going to be the higher risk. Compatibility with adjacent land uses. How is it compared to the buildings next door? And the answer is it's good. It's residential, among other residential, and it has the same setback as other buildings. Obviously, the other side of the street is the college, but on that side, it's the neighborhood. So then you would add your photos. For a regular building, you would just add one photo, just the 3/4 front view, and you might add more photos if you need them. But let's say that, like me, you're doing this remotely online. This is where you would go ahead and submit your entry, okay? You'd go ahead and submit your entry here, and then you would click and enter another form later. That doesn't mean you're done with this entry, however, because you still need to enter a bunch of additional information. It's just that that additional information is additional information that you are not going to be able to get or certainly not be able to complete when you're out at the site. So when that happens,